Hey guys, today we are putting together some plants. We are going to do cabbage, spinach, and lettuce, and we're just going to let these grow for a couple of weeks before we move them outdoors and start on all of our other vegetables. So what we're doing is we're going to repurpose some little greenhouses that we already had from last year. We're going to use some egg containers. These make really great greenhouses. They open up, you put all the little plants in here, and then the top of it just creates a greenhouse effect. And then lastly, I'm going to use a pan and just cover it with plastic wrap. The whole idea here is just to incubate these plants for a little bit while we go ahead and get the garden ready and get these ready to be transplanted. So the first thing I'm going to do with these trays, the chickens grabbed the tray, is I'm going to take these shells from the chicken eggs, and I'm just going to line up my pan with these. These are great because they're full of calcium. They're just the right shape and size to hold the soil and the seedlings. And then I'm going to fill these pans up with a mixture of some garden soil and some peat moss. I just want to create a light, airy soil that the plants can really root down into to have the best chance to grow. So now we have all of our trays filled up with eggshells. Like I said, that's just going to create little holders and calcium. It's a lot better than those peat moss ones that usually come in these type of containers because those do not break down into the soil very well. So now we're just going to mix together equal parts of peat moss, which I have down here outside of the camera, and equal parts of garden soil. The soil's pretty compact, so I'm going to have to break it up. And I'm just going to fill those shells up with that. So now all of the containers are filled with that mixture of soil and peat moss, and so I'm going to go ahead and fill them up with water, let it absorb all the water, and then we're going to move on to putting in the spinach, lettuce, and cabbage seeds. All right, so now I have my trays filled up, and I'm just going to go ahead and fill them up with some water. Let that sit for a few minutes just to for the soil and the peat moss to expand and absorb all of the water. And then we'll move on to planting the seeds. We're planting lettuce, cabbage, and spinach seeds, and I'll link in the description where I got each of these. Now that each one of these trays have been filled with their various seeds, I'm just going to go ahead and cover them up. What you want is a greenhouse, and you're going to have that greenhouse sealed for about 2 to 3 days before you pop the lid. You want to see your first little sprouts start to appear before you pop that lid. Toss some water out here. So I'm just going to put that tray cover on. And then the egg, if you can use these plastic egg containers, these are great for creating a little greenhouse, and they're essentially free with your purchase of eggs. We just have these left over from when we used to purchase eggs because we knew we were getting chickens, so we held on to these. And they're just good for multiple uses. Just close that up, and then as far as the last container here, I'm going to use plastic wrap on it. So you'll just use plastic wrap, and it's going to have the same sort of effect that you have going here with the others. And same thing, once it starts to sprout after 2 or 3 days, I'm going to go ahead and kind of make this film a lot looser. But for right now, we're just creating a little bit of a greenhouse, so we want it nice and sealed up. My homeschool room has now become the sunroom for all of these little plants to sprout in.